The Kennedy half-dollar series began in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination in 1963. Originally, these coins were composed of 90% silver, but by 1971, the U.S. Mint transitioned to a copper-nickel-clad composition due to rising silver prices. The 1983 Kennedy half-dollar followed this standard and was struck at both the Philadelphia, MP, and Denver mints, with proof versions produced in San Francisco S. Over 63 million were struck at the Philadelphia Mint and over 32 million at the Denver Mint, making it a common coin in circulation. However, despite its high mintage, certain factors make this coin interesting to collectors. The composition of the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar consists of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. This results in the distinctive silvery appearance of the coin, though it lacks any actual silver content. It weighs 11.34 grams and has a diameter of 30.6 millimeters. The obverse of the coin features the iconic left-facing portrait of President Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, while the reverse showcases the presidential seal, designed by Frank Gasparro. While the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar in average circulated condition is typically worth its face value of 50 cents, uncirculated examples can fetch higher prices. A well-preserved, high-grade example in MS65 or higher can be worth between $5 and $20. The real value, however, comes from error coins and high-grade specimens certified by top grading services. The $1,983 half-dollar is known for some notable strike errors, such as off-center strikes and doubling in the lettering, which can significantly increase its value. Additionally, proof versions from San Francisco, especially those with deep cameo contrast, are highly sought after by collectors. One of the most interesting aspects of the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar is the presence of no FG, no designer initials errors. On the reverse side, just to the right of the eagle's tail feathers, there should be the initials FG for designer Frank Gasparro. However, in some cases, weak strikes or die polishing resulted in these initials being completely missing. These no FG varieties are rare and can command higher prices, with some selling for hundreds of dollars in high-grade condition. Another key factor in determining a coin's value is its condition and grade. Coin grading ranges from poor, P1, to mint state, MS70, with MS65 or higher being the most desirable for collectors. Coins that exhibit full luster, strong strike details, and minimal blemishes tend to fetch the highest prices. Many collectors submit their coins to professional grading services such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, to obtain a certified grade, which can significantly enhance the coin's market value. Additionally, some 1983 Kennedy half-dollars exhibit strong die cracks or other anomalies that interest error collectors. These small but unique features add character to a collection and can also increase a coin's desirability in numismatic circles. It is always recommended to inspect your coins carefully under magnification and compare them with known error varieties. Although the Kennedy half-dollar is no longer widely used in daily commerce, it remains a popular coin among collectors. The 1983 issue, despite its high mintage, can still hold value in certain conditions or if it exhibits rare errors. It's always a great idea to check your pocket change or coin collections for hidden gems, as you never know when you might come across a valuable variety. Next up, the Kennedy half-dollar series was first introduced in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy following his tragic assassination in November 1963. Initially composed of 90% silver, the U.S. Mint reduced the silver content to 40% in 1965, and by 1971, Kennedy half-dollars were transitioned to a copper-nickel-clad composition due to the rising cost of silver. The 1972 Kennedy half-dollar continued in this copper-nickel-clad format and was minted at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, P, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, for proof coins. The composition of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar consists of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. This gives the coin a silvery appearance while containing no silver content. It weighs 11.34 grams and has a diameter of 30.6 millimeters. The obverse of the coin features the iconic left-facing portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by chief engraver Gilroy Roberts, while the reverse showcases the presidential seal, designed by Frank Gasparro. The total mintage for 1,972 Kennedy half dollars was significant, with over 153 million coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint, over 141 million at the Denver Mint, and approximately 3.26 million proof coins at the San Francisco Mint. Due to this high mintage, the coin is common in circulated condition, and often found in pocket change, though certain varieties and eras make specific coins more valuable to collectors. While most 1,972 Kennedy half dollars in circulated condition hold only their face value of 50 cents, uncirculated examples in MS-65 or higher can command between $5 and $30, depending on their mint mark and condition. The most valuable 1,972 Kennedy half dollars tend to be those with rare errors or varieties, such as the 1,972D No FG, no designer initials variety. The no FG error occurs when excessive die polishing removes the FG initials of designer Frank Gasparro from the reverse of the coin, located to the right of the eagle's tail feathers. These rare error coins have been known to sell for hundreds of dollars in high-grade condition. Another variety of interest is the 1,972 Kennedy half dollar, with doubling in the lettering or date, commonly referred to as a doubled die error. While not as well documented as doubled dies from other years, collectors still seek out these anomalies as they can command higher prices depending on the clarity of the doubling. A key factor in determining the value of a 1,972 Kennedy half dollar is its grade. Coin grading ranges from poor to mint state MS-60, with coins in MS-65 or higher being the most desirable. Coins with strong luster, sharp details, and minimal blemishes can fetch premium prices. Collectors often submit their coins to professional grading services such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, to authenticate their grade, which can significantly enhance the coin's market value. Some 1,972 Kennedy half dollars also exhibit die cracks or other striking anomalies, making them appealing to error collectors. These small imperfections add uniqueness to a collection and can increase a coin's desirability within the numismatic community. It is always a great idea to carefully inspect your coins under magnification to identify any potential errors or varieties. Despite the Kennedy half dollar's limited use in daily commerce today, it remains a highly popular collectible. Many collectors enjoy building sets of Kennedy half dollars, seeking out high-grade examples, error coins, and key varieties from different years. The 1,972 issue, while common, can still hold significant value depending on its condition and any rare characteristics it may possess. Checking your pocket change or old coin collections for a well-preserved or error 1,972 Kennedy half dollar could be rewarding. Next up, the 1,984 Kennedy half dollar is part of the long-standing series that's been around since 1964. The coin features the well-known portrait of President John F. Kennedy on the obverse, designed by Gilroy Roberts. If you take a close look, you'll notice the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" to the left and right of Kennedy's image, with the date, in this case 1984, prominently displayed at the bottom. On the reverse side, you'll see the classic eagle design created by Frank Gasparro. The eagle holds an olive branch in one talon and arrows in the other, which symbolize peace and strength, and surrounding the eagle are the words United States of America, half dollar, and E pluribus unum. By the time the 1,984 Kennedy half dollar was struck, it wasn't commonly used in circulation anymore. While it was still produced by the US Mint, most of these coins weren't intended for everyday use. The 1,984 half dollar, like many other coins of that era, was primarily produced for collectors. If you're searching for one of these coins, you'll find that the mint marks can vary, and this can influence both the rarity and value of the coin. The 1,984 Kennedy half dollar was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The coins from the Philadelphia Mint have no mint mark, while the Denver Mint coins feature a D, and the San Francisco Mint coins, which were proof coins, have an S. So, how much is the 1,984 Kennedy half dollar worth? Well, if you've got one in your pocket and it's in average circulated condition, it's probably only worth face value 50 cents. But don't let that discourage you, because this coin can be worth a lot more, especially if it's in uncirculated or proof condition. A proof coin from 1,984, which was specially made for collectors, can be worth between $2 to $5 depending on its condition. Proof coins are struck with extra care and usually have a higher level of detail and a shiny mirror-like finish that makes them stand out from standard circulation coins. For those of you with high-grade, uncirculated 1,984 Kennedy half dollars, you might be able to sell them for $10 or even more, especially if there's demand from collectors looking for that perfect specimen. If you take a closer look at the composition of the 1,984 Kennedy half dollar, you'll notice that while it may appear to be silver, it's actually made from a copper-nickel clad composition. This was the case for all half dollars after 1,970. The inner core is pure copper and the outer layers are made of nickel, giving the coin its silver-like appearance but without the actual silver content. Overall, the 1,984 Kennedy half dollar is an interesting and affordable coin for collectors, especially for those who focus on proof coins or high-grade examples. Even though it's not the most famous coin in the Kennedy half dollar series, it still holds historical value and can be a valuable addition to your collection if you happen to find one in great condition. So, if you ever come across a 1,984 Kennedy half dollar in your pocket, change, or in a coin roll hunt, make sure to check its condition. You might be holding on to something worth a bit more than just its face value. Next up, the 1,988 Kennedy half dollar is part of the long-running series that honors President John F. Kennedy. The design on this coin is essentially the same as the one introduced in 1,964. On the obverse, you'll find a profile of President Kennedy, created by sculptor Gilroy Roberts. His face is surrounded by the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," along with the date of minting, in this case, 1,988. The mint mark, which can be found below the date, will tell you where the coin was produced: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, S, or San Francisco. On the reverse side of the coin, we see the classic eagle design by Frank Gasparo. The eagle holds an olive branch in one talon and a bundle of arrows in the other, symbolizing peace and strength. The inscription, United States of America, arches above the eagle, with half dollar below it, and E Pluribly Unius Unum written in the scroll across the eagle's wings. Now, let's talk about the historical context. By 1,988, the Kennedy half dollar was no longer used much in everyday transactions. Although it was still being produced, half dollars were rarely seen in circulation. The coin was primarily minted for collectors, and many of the 1,988 Kennedy half dollars were struck in proof or uncirculated versions. These coins were not intended for everyday use, and this is one of the reasons why the Kennedy half dollar became more of a collector's item over time. When it comes to the value of the 1,988 Kennedy half dollar, it depends on its condition and minting type. If you happen to have a standard circulated coin, its value is generally just its face value, 50 cents. This is because most of the coins from 1,988 that were released into circulation have little to no collector demand. However, there's more to the story if you have a proof or uncirculated version. A proof coin from 1,988 produced specifically for collectors can be worth anywhere from $2 to $5 depending on its condition. Proof coins are struck with more care than regular coins and typically have a mirrored finish that makes the details stand out. These coins are often sought after by collectors looking for high-quality specimens. If you have an uncirculated 1,988 Kennedy half dollar, it could be worth a little more than face value as well. A coin in excellent condition could fetch around $10 or more, especially if it's one of the higher grade examples. The key to value in these coins is primarily the condition and how well it has been preserved over time. Let's also take a quick look at the mint marks for the 1,988 Kennedy half dollar. The coin was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The coins from Philadelphia have no mint mark, the ones from Denver are marked with a D, and the coins from San Francisco, which were proof coins, have an S. Proof coins, especially those from the San Francisco Mint, are often in higher demand due to their superior quality and their special status as collector's items. While the 1,988 Kennedy half dollar isn't one of the rarest coins in the series, it's still a valuable piece of American numismatic history, especially if you can find it in excellent condition. Like most of the Kennedy half dollars produced after 1970, the 1988 version is made from a copper-nickel clad composition. This means that although the coin might look silver, it's actually made of a copper core with outer layers of nickel. It's a durable and cost-efficient material. But it also means the coin doesn't have any silver content, like the earlier Kennedy half dollars from 1964. In summary, While the 1,988 Kennedy half dollar might not be a rare or particularly high-value coin, it's still an interesting and collectible piece of US coinage. If you come across one in circulation or have one tucked away in a collection, make sure to check its condition and mint mark. Proof and uncirculated versions can be worth more than just face value, and they're great pieces to add to any coin collection. Next up, the 1,985 Kennedy half dollar is part of the Kennedy half dollar series, which was introduced in 1964 to honor President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination. The design on the 1,985 coin follows the same iconic layout as the earlier issues in the series. On the obverse, you'll find a profile of President Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. His likeness is surrounded by the words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," along with the year of minting, in this case, 1,985. The mint mark, which tells you where the coin was produced, can be found beneath the date. Coins from Philadelphia have no mint mark, those from Denver have a D, and proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint feature an S. Turning the coin over, you'll see the classic reverse design created by Frank Gasparo. The reverse features a bold eagle which holds an olive branch in one talon and a bundle of arrows in the other. This design symbolizes peace and strength. Above the eagle, you'll see the inscription, United States of America, with $50 below it, and E Pluribus Unum on the banner across the eagle's wings. By 1985, the Kennedy half dollar was no longer in widespread circulation. While the coin was still being produced by the US Mint, the use of half dollars in daily transactions had decreased significantly. As a result, most of the 1,985 Kennedy half dollars were struck for collectors rather than being released into regular circulation. This meant that most of the coins minted were either proof or uncirculated coins, both of which are specially made for collectors and are generally in much better condition than circulation coins. Now, let's talk about the value of the 1,985 Kennedy half dollar. If you have a circulated coin, it's generally worth just its face value, 50 cents. However, if you have a proof or uncirculated version of the 1,985 Kennedy half dollar, the value can increase significantly. Proof coins are produced with a higher level of detail and finish, often featuring a mirror-like surface. These coins were created specifically for collectors and are usually worth more than face value. A proof 1,985 Kennedy half dollar can be worth anywhere from $2 to $5, depending on its condition and the market demand at the time. For uncirculated coins, those that have been preserved in mint condition and never used in circulation, the value can also rise. A high-quality, uncirculated 1,985 Kennedy half dollar might fetch anywhere from $5 to $10, or even more for a coin in exceptional condition. Mint marks also play a role in determining the value of the coin. The 1,985 Kennedy half dollar was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, Denver coins are marked with a D, and San Francisco coins, which are proof coins, carry the S mint mark. Proof coins from San Francisco tend to be the most desirable for collectors, and they're often valued higher than the standard circulation coins. It's important to note that like other Kennedy half dollars struck after 1970, the 1,985 coin is made from a copper-nickel-clad composition rather than the silver used in the earlier issues of the series. This composition consists of a copper core with outer layers of nickel, which gives the coin its silver-like appearance. Although the coin looks like silver, it doesn't contain any actual silver, which affects its melt value and collector demand. While the 1,985 Kennedy half dollar may not be the rarest or most valuable coin in the series, it's still an important piece of US coinage. As part of the long-standing tradition of honoring President Kennedy, it represents a piece of American history, and for collectors, finding one in excellent condition, especially a proof or high-grade uncirculated coin, can be a great addition to their collection. So, if you come across a 1,985 Kennedy half dollar, it's worth taking a closer look. If it's in great shape, especially if it's a proof or uncirculated coin, it could be worth more than just its face value. Next up, the Kennedy half dollar series has been a staple of US coinage since 1964, created to honor the legacy of President John F. Kennedy following his tragic assassination. The 1,974 coin, like most Kennedy half dollars from this era, features the same design that was introduced in 1964. On the obverse side, we see a profile of President Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. His image is surrounded by the words, "Liberty," and "In God We Trust," along with the year of minting, in this case 1974. The mint mark, located just beneath the date, will tell you where the coin was produced. If there's no mint mark, it was minted in Philadelphia, and a cess denotes it was struck in San Francisco. This is important to note, as mint marks can influence the coin's rarity and value. On the reverse side of the coin, we see the iconic eagle design by Frank Gasparo. The eagle holds an olive branch in one talon and a bundle of arrows in the other, which symbolizes peace and strength. Above the eagle, the inscription, United States of America, arches across the top, with $50 beneath the eagle and E Plubrius Unium on the scroll across the eagle's wings. Now, let's talk about the historical context of the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar. By this time, the Kennedy half-dollar had been produced for a decade, but it was no longer used in everyday transactions. While the coin was still being minted, half-dollars weren't commonly found in circulation after 1900 in circulation. Led to most of the coins being produced for collectors. As a result, the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar was primarily issued in proof and uncirculated sets, with many of these coins never actually being used in day-to-day transactions. So, what's the value of the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar? If you have a regular circulated coin, it's worth only its face value, 50 cents. Most coins from this year, like many others in the series, were produced in large numbers, meaning they aren't particularly rare or valuable in circulated condition. However, if you have a proof or uncirculated version of the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, its value can be higher. A proof coin, which was specially made for collectors and has a shiny, mirror-like surface, can be worth anywhere from $2 to $5, depending on its condition. These coins were struck with extra care, making them highly sought after by collectors. Uncirculated coins from the 1974 series can also be worth more than face value. These coins, which were preserved in pristine condition and never used in circulation, can be worth around $5 to $10, especially if they're graded in higher levels of quality. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin can become. The mint marks of the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar are also something to keep an eye on. The coins minted in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark, while those from Denver are marked with a D, and proof coins from San Francisco bear an S mint mark. The San Francisco proofs are generally more valuable to collectors as they were specially produced for collectors and often have higher quality. It's also worth noting that, like most Kennedy half-dollars from 1971 onward, the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar is made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, rather than being made of solid silver like the 1964 version. The coin consists of a copper core and is clad in layers of nickel, giving it a silver-like appearance. Although it looks similar to the earlier silver versions, it doesn't contain any precious metals and has little intrinsic melt value. In summary, the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar isn't particularly rare, but it still holds some collector interest, especially if you have proof or uncirculated versions in great condition. While most circulated 1974 Kennedy half-dollars are worth just face value, proof and uncirculated versions can be worth anywhere from a couple of dollars to $10 or more, depending on the condition and mint mark. So, if you come across a 1974 Kennedy half-dollar in your coin roll hunting or just in your collection, make sure to check its condition and mint mark. A high-quality proof coin or uncirculated specimen could be worth much more than 50 cents.
1989 Kennedy half-dollar was part of the series introduced in 1964, featuring President John F. Kennedy after his assassination. The coin was minted to honor his memory, with the design by Gilroy Roberts for the obverse and Frank Gasparo for the reverse. The coin features a portrait of Kennedy on the front and a depiction of the presidential seal on the back. The 1989 version of the Kennedy half-dollar was struck in both Philadelphia and Denver. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins with no mint mark, while the Denver Mint coins were marked with a D. It was issued as part of the regular circulation, but it's important to note that it did not experience significant rarity or demand, making it more common in the market. The coin was primarily used for circulation during the late 80s, but it was largely replaced by the dollar bill for everyday transactions. Regarding value, the 1989 Kennedy half-dollar is still quite affordable in its circulated form. It generally holds a value close to its face value, around 50 cents. Uncirculated coins or coins in mint condition, however, can fetch a higher price. Proof versions of the coin, which were struck specially for collectors, may also be worth more, typically ranging between $3 to $5 depending on the condition. In terms of historical significance, the Kennedy half dollar has remained in circulation in various forms, with the 1989 version continuing the legacy of honoring JFK. It has remained a symbol of the nation's respect for Kennedy's legacy, even though it is not a rare or highly sought-after coin in the collector market. Next up, the 1973 Kennedy half dollar is part of the ongoing series minted to honor President John F. Kennedy after his assassination. The design remains the same as the original series, with the obverse featuring a portrait of JFK created by artist Gilroy Roberts, and the reverse showcasing the presidential seal, designed by Frank Gasparro. The 1973 coin was produced in large quantities for circulation and was minted in both Philadelphia and Denver. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint used a D mint mark on their coins. During the 1970s, the Kennedy half dollar was still widely used in circulation, but by this time, it was being replaced in everyday transactions by the dollar bill and lower value coins. As a result, the 1973 Kennedy half dollar didn't become particularly rare or valuable in the general market. The coin is composed of 40% silver and 60% copper, a composition that was standard for half dollars minted from 1965 to 1970. Starting in 1971, the coin switched to a copper-nickel clad composition, and the 1973 half dollar is made of this copper-nickel blend. In terms of value, the 1973 Kennedy half dollar is typically worth around face value, 50 cents, when circulated. However, coins in uncirculated or near mint condition can be worth a bit more, often around $1 to $3. Proof versions, which were struck for collectors and feature a high-quality finish, are more valuable. These can range in price from $3 to $10, depending on their condition and whether they come in original packaging. Although the 1973 Kennedy half dollar is not particularly rare, it remains significant as part of the broader series of coins produced in Kennedy's honor. Collectors still seek these coins, particularly in pristine condition or as part of complete sets of Kennedy half dollars, but it does not hold significant value beyond its face value for the average collector. Next up, the 1965 Kennedy half dollar holds a special place in U.S. coin history, representing both a tribute to President John F. Kennedy and a turning point in the country's coinage production. The coin was issued just a few years after the assassination of President Kennedy, making it an emotional and symbolic memento. Its composition, historical significance, and unique place in numismatic history make the 1965 Kennedy half dollar much more than just a coin. Below is a comprehensive exploration of its value, history, and significance in U.S. coinage, reaching up to 3,000 words. Background: the Kennedy half dollar's introduction. The Kennedy half dollar was first introduced in 1964, following the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy on November 22, 1963. It was a somber moment in American history, and the U.S. government sought to commemorate the late president by issuing a coin in his honor. The coin was designed by U.S. Mint chief engraver Gilroy Roberts, with a portrait of the slain president on the obverse. On the reverse, designer Frank Gasparro chose to depict the presidential seal, a symbol of the office of the President of the United States. Before 1964, the U.S. half-dollar coin featured the image of Benjamin Franklin. But following Kennedy's death, the U.S. government opted to replace Franklin's portrait with Kennedy's as a mark of respect and admiration for his leadership. The 1964 Kennedy half dollar was released as part of the country's effort to pay tribute to the fallen leader and was embraced by both the public and collectors. The composition change, 1965 Kennedy half dollar. In 1965, however, a significant change occurred in the composition of the coin that would affect its value and make the 1965 Kennedy half dollar one of the most talked about coins in the United States. The U.S. was experiencing an economic crisis during the mid-1960s, which led to a shortage of silver. Up until that point, U.S. coinage had been made of a silver-copper composition, But the rising price of silver made it increasingly expensive to strike coins made with a high silver content. As a result, the U.S. Mint made a major decision to change the composition of circulating half dollars. Starting in 1965, the Kennedy half dollar was minted with 40% silver and 60% copper, a departure from the 90% silver composition of previous years. This was a temporary measure that would remain in effect until 1970, when the U.S. Mint moved entirely to copper-nickel clad coins. The 1965 Kennedy half dollar design. The design of the 1965 Kennedy half dollar remained largely the same as the original 1964 version, with a few important distinctions. The obverse still depicted President Kennedy's portrait, while the reverse continued to feature the presidential seal. However, one key difference between the 1965 version and its predecessors is that the 1965 coin no longer carried the word silver on the reverse, as it had been removed after the switch. Next up, the 1980 Kennedy half dollar is an important coin for collectors and enthusiasts of U.S. currency. To understand its value and history, let's take a closer look at its background, design, mintage, and what makes it a significant piece for coin collectors today. The Kennedy half dollar was first introduced in 1964 to honor President John F. Kennedy following his tragic assassination in 1963. Initially, the coin was made of 90% silver, but by 1971, it shifted to a copper-nickel-clad composition due to the rising cost of silver. This change impacted the overall value of the coin, but it still held significant appeal due to its historical connection to the late president. In 1980, the U.S. Mint continued producing the Kennedy half dollar in this copper-nickel-clad composition. And while the coin itself didn't hold any extraordinary precious metal value, it was still part of the ongoing circulation of Kennedy half dollars. Over time, the 1980 coin became part of a series that, despite its non-silver composition, continued to intrigue collectors because of its historical connection and its place in the ongoing saga of the Kennedy half dollar series. Regarding mintage, the U.S. Mint produced both circulating and proof versions of the 1980 Kennedy half dollar. The standard circulating version was minted in large quantities, but the proof versions, which were produced for collectors, were minted in smaller numbers. This difference in production creates the first distinction between coins that are widely circulated and those that are kept in pristine condition by collectors. Next up, the 1977 Kennedy half dollar is a coin with both historical significance and collector interest. Produced by the United States Mint, this coin has captivated numismatists for its role in the ongoing production of the Kennedy half dollar series, which began in 1964. Over the years, the value and interest in the 1977 coin have fluctuated due to various factors, including its rarity, condition, and the overall market for silver and copper-nickel coins. First, let's talk about the design. The Kennedy half dollar features a portrait of President John F. Kennedy on the obverse, which was designed by Gilroy Roberts. Kennedy, who was assassinated in 1963, was commemorated with this coin as a tribute to his legacy. The reverse of the coin, designed by Frank Gasparo, depicts the presidential seal, with a heraldic eagle holding a ribbon in its beak, which bears the Latin inscription, E pluribus unum. The eagle holds arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other, symbolizing a nation ready for peace, but also prepared for defense. This design has remained largely unchanged since the coin's debut in 1964. As for the composition, the 1977 Kennedy half dollar is made of a copper-nickel clad composition. The outer layer consists of 75% copper and 25% nickel, while the inner core is made of pure copper. This composition was a shift from the 90% silver used in earlier issues of the Kennedy half dollar, primarily due to rising silver prices and changes in the way coins were produced in the United States. In 1977, the Mint produced millions of these coins as part of regular circulation. Despite the large number of coins struck, the 1977 Kennedy half dollar isn't considered particularly rare by most collectors, especially in its standard circulation condition. However, the value of these coins can still vary depending on their condition. Coins that have been well preserved, such as those graded MS-65 or higher, can fetch higher prices, as collectors often look for coins with minimal wear and good strike quality. The mintages of 1977 Kennedy half dollars were significant, with over 60 million coins struck between the Philadelphia and Denver mint facilities. Of these, nearly 40 million were produced in Philadelphia, with the remaining 20 million minted in Denver. The 1977 coin was not a special commemorative issue, so there were no additional distinguishing marks, like those seen on other years when proof coins or silver proofs were produced. As a result, most collectors seeking out the 1977 Kennedy half dollar will look for coins in uncirculated or proof condition. As of today, the 1977 Kennedy half dollar generally holds a modest value in circulation. In average circulated condition, you might find it worth only face value, which is 50 cents. However, if you have a coin in near mint or uncirculated condition, it can be worth anywhere from $1 to $3, depending on factors like grade and the specific coin market conditions. Proof versions, which were struck for collectors, can sometimes be worth more, typically ranging from $5 to $10, again depending on their condition and whether they are part of a complete proof set. Next up, the 1967 Kennedy half dollar was minted during a turbulent time in American history. This coin was part of a series that was first introduced in 1964, just a few months after President John F. Kennedy's assassination. The U.S. Mint wanted to honor his legacy, and what better way than by putting his image on the nation's half-dollar coin. The Kennedy half dollar was meant to replace the Franklin half dollar, and it quickly became a symbol of respect for the fallen president. In 1967, the U.S. Mint produced over 150 million Kennedy half dollars, making it one of the most common coins in circulation at the time. However, as the years passed, the value of this coin has been shaped not just by its mintage, but by its silver content and its connection to one of America's most revered presidents. Before we dive into the specifics of the coin's value, let's take a look at its design. The obverse, or front of the coin, features a portrait of President Kennedy, designed by artist Gilroy Roberts. It's a striking image of the 35th president, a fitting tribute to the man who led the country through some of its most challenging moments. Surrounding the image of Kennedy is the inscription Liberty, along with the year of minting, 1967, and the phrase, "In God We Trust," which is a standard feature on U.S. coinage. On the reverse side of the coin, we see a depiction of the presidential seal, with an eagle clutching an olive branch in one talon and arrows in the other. The eagle is surrounded by the words, United States of America and half dollar. This reverse design, also by Gilroy Roberts, has become iconic, further cementing the Kennedy half dollar's place in American numismatic history. Now let's talk about the metal content. The 1967 Kennedy half dollar is made of 40% silver and 60% copper. This was a shift from the earlier versions of the coin, which were made of 90% silver until 1964. The U.S. government decided to reduce the silver content in response to the rising cost of silver. Despite the reduction in silver content, the 1967 Kennedy half dollar still contains a significant amount of silver, which contributes to its value. The silver content in the 1967 Kennedy half dollar gives it intrinsic value based on the current market price of silver. As of recent silver prices, each coin is worth around 2 to 3 times its face value. But this can fluctuate depending on the price of silver at any given moment. If you're looking at the coin purely for its silver value, it's worth checking the current silver market before making any decisions. But let's not forget that this coin has numismatic value as well. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its worth. Coins that are in excellent condition, known as uncirculated or mint state, can fetch a much higher price. A 1967 Kennedy half dollar in mint condition might be worth anywhere from $5 to $10 or more, depending on the specific grade. For collectors, the value can go even higher if the coin has been graded by a reputable service, such as the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. Grading is a process where coins are examined for their condition, and a grade is assigned based on factors like wear, scratches, and overall appearance. Coins with higher grades tend to be more valuable because they are rarer and in better condition than their counterparts.